But something else that is completely unrelated to the point of me wanting to share that, because I actually always share about the power of generosity, or going out and celebrating somebody else, or recognizing someone and celebrating that in a positive way. And I talk about, and I don't call it instant karma, but I talk about energy. So it was great for me to be able to actually, and because it is unusual for me to experience something like that, and to even take that kind of action when when it's not really something in my immediate life. Just randomly, I wouldn't really correct someone. But anyway, all learning. What else came out of it that is really great, and that's something I really would love to talk about, is that, well, number one, we're here to be unconditionally loving and accepting. Human design is all about diversity, and it's all about unity and diversity. So human design really celebrates that we all have our own unique individual traits, and that we're all actual parts of a cosmic whole. And when we are playing our parts, hence the projector is the guide, and the generator is the doer, and the manifestor is the initiator, and all these things, that when you actually have a team, when people are playing their correct role and their parts, we're all perfection. And it's all about helping each other rise up and work in that kind of expansive way. So really, it's about it's this thing of spiritual ego is a real thing, and you've got to. Sometimes it's just fun to observe people when they are on this spiritual ego, and to just be aware of it yourself as well. What was interesting about the end of the comment was that she put a smiley face with money signs. And so the implication was light workers, healers, should not be well resourced for their creative contribution. This is old spiritual teachings, or that money is illusion and we shouldn't have the material path. And what I want to say to that is, number one, that's just not something I subscribe to. I actually come from a belief system that it means that believes that spiritual abundance and being well resourced and being serving others and being well paid in exchange for your work is part of your spiritual journey. For me, it's a spiritual journey for myself, and it's a spiritual path for those that healers and light workers that I work with. This idea that you should live in abject poverty, and that you should work for free, and you should sacrifice everything that you have and own and reject materialism, to me is just a form of extremism. And again, it's almost ego, right? Because the ego is saying, it's in duality. It's saying this is good, this is bad. What I'm saying is live your life, do what you feel called to do on your spiritual path, and allow others the grace and space to do their own journey in their own way. But what the beauty of human design is that actually in our charts, it tells us our own soul's destiny path. It gives you, it kind of maps out your potential for your Dharma, your unique destiny. And yes, there are, I believe, fixed points of destiny, and there are potentials that we can tap into. And there is a highest potential, and there is the, or there's you just following along. And I'm not saying that we don't have choice. I believe we are co-creators, and that when we have our awakenings, we actually, some of us do turn into creator consciousness. But so for me, my conscious sun is actually gate 54. It's all about the material way. I'm a 3-line. All 3 lines are here to create sustainment and to be deeply material in order to secure the path for others. It's part of the role. Equally, gate 45 is my north node, which is the trajectory of my life. So gate 45 is all about financial and spiritual. Both 54 and 45 are about spiritual and prosperity. Spiritual aspiration, financial and wealth aspiration, and prosperity. And having a different and expanded consciousness where it moves out of greed and this just like pointless consumption to being well resourced, having a great life and generating wealth, but not from the like shadow consciousness of competition, but from creation, from collaboration, from creating, having the ability to use your skills, talents, and abilities to create wealth for yourself and sustainment for others. And it doesn't have to just be money, it can be resources, education. And it's interesting because a motto of mine ever since I've been a teacher and in my work is educate to elevate. So education for elevation. But the point is, if you have got 45 in your chart, this is a journey of learning how to be both spiritual and financially resourced. Same with the 54. It's all about ascension and spiritual expansion and aspiration and individuation as well, with the integration channel of definition of 5710. But the low expression or the repressed expression of that would be to reject materialism and reject and having possessions at all and living that sort of nun life, or service to just poverty, vows of poverty and all of that. So it was interesting as well that so many light workers or self-professed, I guess some people do have Kundalini awakenings and they're not prepared for it. Maybe they're still taking drugs. Maybe they haven't been grounded. I don't know. But what can happen is people can get very, very locked into ways of thinking that are completely contrary to what they say they're here and what they're about. So if you're a light worker, your job really isn't to be judging other people or correcting others or looking at their pathways or whatever. Your job is to literally follow your pathway and do your thing. That's it. What does love mean? And I know a lot of people talk about truth, but as well, truth is subjective. It really is. There are a few absolute truths in the universe, but other than that, your perception and your opinion is subjective. So choose who you want to be. And for those who are around me or in my circle or on my page, this is all about spiritual wealth, spiritual aspiration, developing a conscious approach to leadership and emotional intelligence, and enjoying using your skills, talents and abilities and being well resourced in exchange for your service. And my other motto from my personal life experience of being someone who overgave and gave to depletion because of my desire to serve is service, not servitude. It's service, not servitude.